Monday. Yes, a very good afternoon. Hello and welcome to Men's Radio Station with, yes, don't worry, Russ is around. So it will be Russ Kane eventually. And me, Phil Dave, I'm back. Now, before anyone starts telling me how much they missed me on Friday, please spare me your blushes, because honestly, I don't know whether or not my ego will survive the whole hour. But in the meantime, might I say thank you very much, by the way, to the lovely Alexandra Lichtenfeld for stepping in and having to tolerate Russ for a whole 3 hours on Friday. Unbelievable. Anyway, let me explain that Russ will be along very shortly. Don't panic. If you think you've got an hour of me waffling, no such luck. Russ will be here imminently, but unfortunately, as besuits him, I'm afraid he's having technical difficulties. Let's say hello to Paul Claridge, who's joined. Barry J. Allen is also here. Someone by the name of Linda Dave, never heard of her. She's also watching. And also we have to say hello to Melanie as well as Martin. Phil, you need a hand. Well, I've got one, thanks. But anyway, but thank you, Martin. I appreciate it. So, where do we start today, huh? Seriously. I mean, what a difference a weekend makes. It's official. I have no idea whether or not Russ wanted to talk about this, but hey, it's how I'm going to start the conversation going. We're hurtling towards, good Lord, Jill Kenton's joined. Amazing. Hello, JK. And Ramsey's also here as well, as is Angela and Michael Swindles as well. Hello to you all. Thank you very much indeed for keeping me company whilst Russ tries to sort out his technology. Well, I think it's a bit obvious where we're going to take the conversation today. For goodness sake. I mean, who on earth would have seen it coming? Oh, wait, everyone but our esteemed leaders. Yes, we are hurtling towards another lockdown. Now, I've got to be honest, I don't know whether or not this affects me too much, because strictly speaking, working in media, I'm technically classed as, would you believe it? I know it sounds ridiculous when you compare the likes of the NHS workers, but technically classed as a key worker. So that means that I won't be stopped if I was to make my way to work, because I explain what I do, and that's fine. Radio people and television people are allowed to carry on regardless. But I recognize that the mood out there from a lot of people is going to be very down and very flat. And I guess it's the obvious question, but how are you feeling about it? Because now that we know that this Thursday, the UK will go into at least a month's worth of another kind of lockdown. I love it. He's waving frantically. I'm in the middle of me piece here, for goodness sake. He's waving at me as if to say, come on, get on with it.
There is nothing like when you've been talking, everything's set up, and then your internet dies on its ass. Fantastic.
How you are feeling. Actually, do you know what?
What?
Do you know,
carry on.
I've got an alternative. Yes, it's Jill Kenton as well. Hello, JK.
Jill Kenton. We need 3D. We need 3D cameras for Jill.
Yeah. Stop it.
What did you just say, Russ?
I said we need 3D cameras for you, otherwise we don't get the full Jill Kenton effect.
How are you, boys?
I'm all right. Love what you've done to your bedroom. It almost looks like a car.
No, I'm in a car. We're going.
Who knew?
We're going to see Paul's parents in Herne Bay before the lockdown.
Oh,
right. Okay, Herne Bay. We were in Herne Bay not long ago, having a look round.
What were you doing there?
What did I want?
What were you doing there?
Just having a little look.
Oh.
Nice.
I have to open that up a bit. Oh my God, this is not the best look, is it?
No, you look like. Well, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I need to have my filters applied. Anyway, how are you boys? How are you, Russ?
What's it? So in the lockdown, Jilly Willy, the hairbrush has got lost and you can't find it. Is this what's going on?
This is my straggled look. I've actually gone all au naturel. This is just, I've gone very blonde, but it's more...
I can see that. I'm going to have to get my dark glasses on in a minute. I'm getting snow blind here looking at you.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no, this is very natural. It's just, what's the point? I can't be bothered to ruin my hair.
Well, quite.
Yeah, I mean, look at Phil. Don't you think Phil looks fantastic? I think Phil, with his new hair, which he did, I think just looks fantastic. Don't you think?
Oh my gosh, it's the best thing he ever did. I'm so pleased he did that. So pleased.
No, I agree. No, I think the best thing he ever did was bought you the 25th martini when we went to Crazy Cox.
Oh,
you,
that's a good night.
and you managed to talk right through the act and
it's
take phone calls and drive the entire audience mad. There we are. Apart from that,
You're like a
apart from
child.
that, and then announce in a loud voice in the middle of the act, "I gotta go now."
On the plus side, though,
Do you
at
ever
least
forget that, Russ? Do you ever
No,
forget
how can I ever forget it?
on the plus side, though, there was no mistaking that you were part of that night, and we remember
part of the act. I
Oh
thought we were
my
going to
God,
get a
at least we're
lifetime ban.
laughing. At least we're laughing with the news that's obviously happening right now, hey? I mean, getting ready for Thursday.
But the only way to look at it is
Yep.
that we have nights like that at Crazy Cox that we can look back on and we cling on to until we can all do it again.
100%. Well said.
Yeah.
Well
Now,
said.
how have you been coping with all of this? Because we haven't seen each other obviously since this nightmare started. How have you been coping with all this, Jill?
Okay, so I don't know if you know, but oh yes, you do know. I sold my house in last December, and I thought I'd put my money in the bank. I'd have a chain-free situation, which is always better to buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I did a year's contract with a 6-month break clause. And unfortunately, Corona hit in the middle of that. So I'm stuck in rented. Been looking at 45 houses in a completely overinflated market. People fighting over properties. I've been gazumped 3 times.
Wow.
Trying to find a house to living in a rented accommodation, which is very nice, as Phil knows.
What's it like above the kebab shop in Peckham? Is it all right?
The kebabs are good. As long as they're chicken, it's fine. Yeah.
Just checking. Just checking.
So basically, I work from home because I'm now, I can't do my, obviously, Talk Radio Europe in Spain anymore because I can't get over there. So I'm just a full-time voiceover. So I'm literally in my studio, which Phil kindly set up for me. And I actually have had the busiest year I've ever had, ever. In the 8 years of being a voiceover. It's been incredibly busy, but I work from home, so I'm pretty lucky. But it's just been, I'm a bit anxious sometimes, but then I think, you know what, it's all going to be okay. It will be okay.
Totally.
Absolutely. So listen,
I admire your plucky teenage optimism there, Jill.
I just, you know what's made me happy today? I think I might have a house so I can actually unpack my boxes.
Oh,
I've just made an offer on a house. I haven't told you, Phil, have I?
No, you might have missed that bit.
It got accepted yesterday.
Oh,
how
exciting!
Now, if you're going to Herne Bay, and you want some fresh bread, if you want some very good fresh bread just off the seafront.
Oh yeah.
2 kids are running this little cafe called Baked.
Hang on.
Really good.
Can we say hello and can we acknowledge Paul, who's very?
No, I've never even seen Paul. I don't even know what Paul looks like. I just keep hearing about this bloke for the last God knows how many years.
No, concentrate on the road. I'm not getting you into trouble. Keep looking at the road. Thank you very much. Right,
Here's an interesting point, Jill and Phil.
Go on.
Yeah.
Right?
Hello.
We always hoped you'd be an item, but it never worked out.
Do you remember this afternoon with Jill and Phil? Happy days. Anyway.
Anywho.
You know what? Me and Phil go back many, many years, and our first show that we did together was on Hayes FM, wasn't it? Do you remember?
Hayes FM. One can only dream of such heady heights. The thing is, every time you watch a movie, whenever you watch a movie, right, and there's 2 people in a car, have you noticed they manage to have, while one is driving, the other has a full conversation with the person with their head turned the whole time. And I sit there screaming at the television screen, look at the road, you dick. Right? Yeah. And they have this whole conversation. Whereas Paul, man of mystery and tennis balls, right? He is doing the right thing. And this is real life. Whereas the movies, they could do the Gettysburg Address and not hit another car.
Yes,
because not looking at the road.
Okay, that's because they're not responsible for the scrolling screen that's running behind them and the wheels that are actually spinning because they're not actually going anywhere.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, I didn't realize. I thought it was. Listen, it's so lovely to see you. It really is. It's a fillip. No pun intended, for everybody. Enjoy Herne Bay. Go to Baked and buy some bread. The bread was very, very nice. They did some cake or something there. There was extra.
I will do, and I hope I get to see you boys soon.
Well, I don't think the word soon's going to be applicable, but I hope you get to see us. That would be lovely. It's just the whole thing just drives me in. The whole thing, to be honest, like you, it's driving everybody around the bend. But anyway, here we are, and you're always and Jill, you're always welcome. Please come on the show anytime because you're always good value.
Oh, but I love to be good value.
Well, you know what I mean. That was the best 25 quid I ever spent. I'll be honest.
JK, I hate to tell you, that's basically the most sort of polite way I've ever heard of someone saying you're cheap. But anyway,
I never said cheap. But now she's bottle blonde. All bets are off.
Yeah, I did. I had my hair done. I've had.
Hang on a second. Hang on, JK. JK, just
done. I've had my
look at that.
done. I'm all ready. So I'm prepared.
JK, just before you go, hang on, just before you go, are you ready for this? Angela Lee, handsome guy is Paul the driver.
Yeah. Angela, fill your boots, love. Fill your boots. Go on. He's probably had enough of Jill. He's probably exhausted. He probably just wants to go. Christ, Angela, do me a favor. Here's the address. Here's 20 quid. Bye. That would be it.
Anyway, safe travels, you two.
Enjoy Herne Bay, you two, and I hope you get the house, sweetheart. All right.
Thank you.
Sarah. Bye, Jilly.
Nice.
She's the best, and she's just great.
Jacob.
I don't know, Paul. I've never even seen. I've heard about this guy for 2 years or whatever it is. I don't know. And Angela, I'll be honest with you. I think you could be in there.
On to the important stuff.
Yeah, the important stuff is my new T-shirt, courtesy of my lovely cousin Francine. Decided that she would send me a T-shirt. I'm going to show you this because I'm really tickled by it. Look, you see.
It says,
"Yeah,
I'm aging like a fine cigar." Yes, love it.
Isn't that the greatest thing? And she's got my nickname. She's got the nickname that she and my late auntie Sylvia, was my second mum, would have on my back, which I'm not showing you, but that's my little family nick.
Oh, come on, let's see where it says Russell Puzzle.
How did you know? Hang on. See if I can do it. Hang on. You got it?
A bit lower. Yes.
There we are. That's Francine's. Since we were little tiny tots, she's always called me that. It's just the weirdest thing. It was so nice to get this. I thought it was. Anyway, there we are. Thank you. Thanks, Fran. I wear it with pride. If only it were true. If only it were true. Martin Bell, good afternoon from Mallorca. Good afternoon to you. We've got about 1,000 messages here.
We have got quite a few messages. In all seriousness, what I was asking before, Jill very kindly joined the conversation. We're truly grateful to her for doing so, because actually,
we are. Well, she's great.
Can I suggest that one thing that is a bit obvious that we do want to get your thoughts on today is obviously now that we know this weekend's been and gone and we are hurtling towards a second lockdown, please do use this service as it is meant to be. I know Russ and I prat about a lot, but this is not the idea of MRS by any stretch. It is that we're here as a forum, we're here as a conduit for conversation, and to actually say, if there is something troubling you about the imminent second lockdown, please do get in touch and tell us, because honestly, that's the whole point of MRS and WRS.
That Alex was very good on Friday. Very good. Oh, yeah. Have you swallowed a thesaurus this morning? You are in rocking form. Rocking form. You.
Really?
This is Phil Dave of the BBC.
Once in a while, I can be serious on air when I want to.
This is it. I'm trying not to be, because I'm going around the bend along with everybody else. So Phil is absolutely right. You know, we're here. On any other radio station, you go through a whole bank of people who are about 12 and they won't put you through. It's guaranteed. Here, your comments appear straight away. Everyone can see them, and then we can read them out, and you can phone us and you can get on. Just like Jill did, you know, we had no pre-arranged setup with her. She just dialed in, so you can do that. You do that anytime you like. Your T-shirt makes me think of Bill Clinton, dear.
It makes me think of Metro Goldwyn Mayer.
Does it? I love it.
Yeah, look, it's like the MGM logo, isn't it? Can you just imagine
with that being the lion?
You could imagine the lion creeping out of it.
Yeah, it was a big cigar weekend this weekend. I got to tell you, I enjoyed some stuff.
thought you sounded a bit croaky.
Well, I don't know. My throat these days, it is what it is. I got to say that I think the thought of this second lockdown is just like, oh man, it's rough. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and Julian Dodds, if Julian Dodds is watching, I would love you to come on the show. You can come on now. Is this Barrington report? We were having a big discussion about the Barrington Declaration. And it sounds like the Balfour Declaration, doesn't it? The Barrington thing. And I looked at it, but then I saw it being debunked. So I'm now utterly confused. Not helpful that one of the signatures, there's like thousands of signatures and everyone's meant to be great. One of the signatures is Harold Shipman. I'm not joking. Dr. Harold Shipman. If someone can fake it and put in Dr. Harold Shipman as a signature on the Barrington Declaration, I kind of have a little bit of a problem with it straight off. You know what I'm saying? I'm not getting around here.
I'm going to read out Timmy's message, but I'm not going to put it on screen. I'm going to sort of censor it slightly, just slightly, because I feel that it needs to be a little more family friendly, if it's okay. I can't stand that everything is being closed down and nobody is mentioning those fools who will not give a hoot about the rules and keep meeting up people and spreading this flipping disease. Now, Timmy,
nicely paraphrased, Philip.
Thank you. Timmy, by and large, I completely and utterly agree with you, but I think the awful truth is that actually I really do believe it's a minority of people who are not sticking to the rules. I believe there are a swathe of fools who are not sticking to it, but if you probably add it up, there's probably not that many who are sticking to it. What I do believe, though, is that it's half and half with the population in terms of those who actually genuinely support the idea of another lockdown and those who think this is just ridiculous. Now, get on with it. All we're doing is prolonging the inevitable. This is what I don't understand.
Have I got it? I have got it right, haven't I? It is the Barrington Declaration, right? Because Ed Grossman's saying, Russ, what's the Barrington Declaration? In a nutshell, and I have to say, it was brought to me my attention by my other half, who said you got to get into this. So I take no personal credit for it because that's and what it is. He said you should look at it. So okay. Anyway, it's saying that it's basically promulgating the theory of herd immunity. In one sentence, the whole of the Barrington Declaration is saying this is all nonsense. Herd immunity, those people who think, I'm obviously paraphrasing a whacking great piece of text, those people who are at risk or those people who think that they're at risk should look after themselves and everybody else get on with their lives. This was, it should be called the Phil Dave Declaration because Phil said this in March and he and I had a blazing argument about it on air because we totally disagreed. But there we are.
Note disagreed, past tense.
Yeah. No, I know.
Well,
I know. I think that people.
If you don't,
I'm not a medical expert. What do I know?
So, if you don't take my word for it, which some people may well not, listening to this, I'm perfectly aware that some people are quite anti my views on this whole situation, and I recognise that. But if you don't take my word for it, some of the signatories who are UK based who have signed this is Dr. Sunetra Gupta. Now, we're not you've necessarily heard of Dr. Sunetra Gupta or not. Note that Dr. Sunetra is an epidemiologist at Oxford University. Okay. Epidemiologist at our top university in this country, people. Nottingham University self-harm expert Professor Ellen Townsend. Edinburgh University disease modeler Dr. Paul McKeague. I think I've said the name properly, so forgive me if I haven't. But even so, the point is that all of these people are forget me. I don't include myself in this at all by any stretch of the imagination. An idiot like me can recognize this, but take it from the top brains of the country. That's the point.
Well, you see, this is it. This is why it's so divisive, because other people, the article I was reading as well today was saying that they're not saying who is at risk. So the notion of who is at risk is moot. And that's no good. Here's the thing. Just going back to the theatre for a second. It's one industry. It is one industry. It's an industry that we love, but it is one industry along with everybody else, right? So I'm not making a special case that it's worse than the fact that you've got a business and your business is going down the toilet. it's all horrible. It's from Timmy again. Theatres were told they could now open in November and have already spent a fortune on making the building safe. Producers basically have just flushed their money down the toilet.
Well, they haven't, because arguably it means that it's ready for when they can open up again. So I don't think it's completely flushed, but I recognise that absolutely they were working towards a deadline of November, and that's been snatched away from them. So that's not great at all. And
Michael Swindle's great point. It's the Great Barrington Declaration. David Icke has a new pen name. Well, of course, my immediate knee-jerk reaction is because anything David Icke says, I will immediately do the complete opposite. Don't even get me started on him. Just don't. I think he's evil. But there we go. Lee Durnford. Do you want to put this one up?
Lee Durnford says, how can the virus be controlled if children are mixing? Crazy. The government have had 6 months to design a half-decent home learning platform. Why has this not been done? Same for universities.
Another good point is, and we're going to read, so many of you piling in, thank you for so much. Another very good point is that they have spent billions on track and trace. Not millions, billions on track and trace. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And the point we were discussing, two of us were discussing over the weekend, was in any other walk of life, if you F up as badly as that, you would be fired or you'd be sued. Right? In any other walk of life, that is a fact. If you had a job and you screwed it up so badly and cost the company that much money, you would A, be fired, and B, you'd probably be sued for all sorts of different things. Right? This has cost billions, not millions, billions, and it doesn't work. Who's responsible for this? Who's going to who's going to carry the can? Where's the accountability? Where's the culpability? That's your money, my money, Phil's money, Timmy's money, Lee's money, Michael's money. It's everybody's money, right? Billions just flushed away. And the other thing is, which was a good point that was made to me, I can't even pretend I thought about it, but once it was said to me, it made perfect sense. Why reinvent the wheel? If other countries have got a track and trace system that works, why not bring the damn thing in? What do you want to start from ground zero and build it up? Buy it in. You haven't got time to dick around, right? If you're going to destroy the world, time, let's move. So if the German system works, or whatever other system is working, and it's been proved to be worked, and that it works, buy that system in straight away. Don't start inventing your own system. It's completely nuts. Or maybe I'm wrong.
Timmy says, to be fair, I'd be up for it if herd immunity won't. I'd be up for it, but herd immunity won't work either if you can be reinfected with this virus. I agree, but then it's a no-win situation. It's a no-win now, which is being made 100 times worse because of decimating the economy and shattering people's livelihoods. And I hate to say it, but their worst-case projection for now is they reckon that we're on course, or we were on course, for 85,000 people to have lost their lives. It's a painful number. It's horrible.
It's a shocking number.
I recognize, if I've said time and time again, if it was people that I knew, I'd be mortified. Of course I would be. But at the same time, 85,000 out of 63 million is probably not enough to justify decimating millions of livelihoods.
Let me give you some figures. I cannot tell you who this quote is from, because that would be betraying a confidence. But it is someone very senior. It's not like somebody asking around like Phil and me. It is someone in the medical arena at a very, very senior level. I'm going to read this to you. Across the 3 major London hospitals, there are in total just 55 people with COVID. Of those 55, 13 are in ICU. Now, to put that into perspective, is approximately 1,500. So the lockdown is, I'll give you that number again. The 3 major London hospitals. I'm not talking about a cottage hospital in the middle of nowhere next to a field. I'm talking about the 3 major London hospitals here. Total, 55 people with COVID. and of the 55, 13 are in ICU. What do you make of that? I mean,
yes, but let us
what
not
do you make of that?
Hang on, let us not forget as well, though, that of course that the vast majority of central London is vacant at the moment. So, and I know that some of the larger hospitals are more central. So even though I agree that number is ridiculously low to try and justify the action that's been taken.
Well, mercifully low would be a good, mercifully low as well. Mercifully low.
Okay, mercifully low. But even so, the point that I'm trying to make is that if you were to look at sort of more of the suburban hospitals, I would suspect, and again, I'm not trying to justify it because I don't justify this action at all. I never have, and I never will do. But I suspect the more suburban hospitals have probably got more in them than that.
It's you know, I go through life. Well, I used to go through life thinking, what the hell do I know? These people are experts. They must know better than me. I'm not a medical expert. I'm not a politician, etc. I'm not an economist. You know, I write books and I broadcast and I do a bit of stand-up. That's it. But you really get the feeling, because this is such uncharted territory, you know, it's like Star Trek. They don't know where the hell they're going, and then something happens. They're kind of winging it. But it's not just us. I mean, if it was just us, I think you could be more critical. But it's the world, apart from America. It's the world. And if Biden gets in on after tomorrow, it'll be America as well, because he'll go straight into lockdown. And then it'll kick off. Ed Grossman. Now, this is the side effect. Well, this is another. Or first of all, you got the economy, which is tanked. And as Phil's excellent point a few weeks ago was that the financial crash of 2008 is only now being rebalanced in 2020. Was that 16? I don't know how many years it is. Can't do the maths. It's 12. A lot. 12 years. 12 years. Right. And this is infinitely worse than the 2008 thing. That was Phil's point. Again, I take no credit for it. Angela Lee, it is uncharted. That's why they're winging it. Yeah. Well, there's no precedent. I mean, I don't want to keep using the word unprecedented. You know, it bores us stupid. But there is no precedent for this.
But might I suggest that one of the spirits that got us through the war, and it's such a brilliant expression, and it is so flipping true, is keep calm, carry on. Because honestly, that is the most sensible way to deal with any crisis. If you keep calm and don't knee-jerk in terms of reaction, which I know is very easy to say, and especially with hindsight now, I mean, for goodness sake, you know, looking back, the one gripe I had from the get-go, as soon as this was unveiled back in November 2019, so a year ago, we heard about COVID-19 for the first time. This was unveiled a year ago this month. The first thing that I would have done if it were me, shut the borders, period. Nothing in, nothing out. And we vet every single import and every single export and it is cleansed without fail before it enters the shores. That's what should have been done.
You see, if only, Phil, we were an island surrounded by water on all sides, that we could actually close our border instead of being a landlocked mass. It's a shame. That would have worked were we an island. That would have worked.
I know. Didn't work for New Zealand, did it? Anyway, never mind. Oh, so yes, that's my particular gripe with it. But look, let's deal with the here and now, because
let's do. We got sidetracked. I was reading something about the Ed Grossman suicides on news this morning. Now doubled in London. That says a lot. I cannot say, sadly, that any of us at Men's Radio Station are the least bit surprised. This is what we've been so worried about. Anybody who thought about this carefully knows this is going to be, the suicide rates are going to skyrocket. The divorce rates are going to go through the roof. Domestic abuse and violence is obviously on the right. These are facts. This isn't scaremongering. These are facts. If you put people into a pressure cooker situation, and that relationship in the first place is a bit iffy, or even if it was pretty good, it can go really toxic.
God, Chrissy's off. Have you seen? The tunnel should never have been built. Chrissy, come on!
They have closed the tunnels, Chrissy. They're not going to crawl through.
They have got doors, you know. But anyway,
they've got like they can actually close the tunnel. The tunnel was mooted first in Napoleonic times. they were going to build a tunnel back then. Isn't that strange? Because I remember seeing cartoons in Punch, and you had the French cavalry charging out. Don't build the tunnel, they were saying. I was always fascinated by the old copies of Punch.
Do me a favor. The French were the ones who wanted us. If Germany ever invaded, they'd be able to get over here much quicker with their hands up in the air. But
Whoa!
That's a joke. I can't take credit for that, but I liked it.
Timmy says Sweden did that, and now it started up again. Yeah, I mean, he's having soup. In case you're wondering, he thought he was having like champagne and orange juice. He's having soup.
It's lovely.
We talked about it before the show. Soup. Yeah, Sweden's always shown up as a shining example, and I just want to see what those figures are like. It's very hard to keep up. It's such a moving scenario, moving in every single way. Yeah. Now it's going to be. Here we go. Paul Clarish. Did we talk about this? Good friend of mine asked a question at the weekend. Where are the COVID marshals? I'm looking for my boys. Has anyone seen one? COVID marshal. What the hell? What's that, like a traffic warden? It's like community police.
Right. Well, let's have a look. According to the figures that I've looked on Google.
Right. Okay. Oh, Google. Right. Okay.
No, I know, but I know I'm hoping.
Okay.
But let's take it at surface value because I have to believe them. Sweden, number of cases, 124,000. We've just reached the 1 million mark, just as long as we know that.
In the UK?
In the UK, I think we've just reached the 1 million mark of the number of cases. But again, can I remind you, out of 63 million, 1 million people have either had, got, or lost their lives from COVID-19.
A 1 in 63 chance is not great, Phil.
But that's just getting it. That's not necessarily losing your life to it.
I understand. I understand that. But you are a young guy, and I'm not. And I had double pneumonia, and I don't want to get it because if I get long COVID, my life is not going to be worth living. That's my point.
I may have age on my side, but please don't forget that I was very seriously ill with pneumonia myself not a few years back. So I promise you, I'm not innocent of this kind of thing. Technically, I should be worried, but honestly, I'm not. Anyway, so you've got Sweden have had a total of 124,000 cases compared to us just having around about 1 million.
But how many people are in Sweden? No,
I'm going to look at the population of Sweden in just a moment. The number of deaths that Sweden have had, just shy of 6,000, 5,938. So if we were comparing that to population, can you tell I'm doing this as we speak? Population of Sweden is 10.3 million.
10.3. Right. First of all, can we just knock this let's do what Sweden do nonsense on the head? You cannot compare Sweden with a very small... The whole population of Sweden's less than the population of London. Come on. They don't have huge cities like we do. They don't have huge urban conurbations like we do. It's way more spread out and far, far fewer people. It's not the same thing. That's where the argument falls down. Michael Swindles, if you have any respiratory issue, you have a far greater chance of morbidity. Precisely so. Linda Dave, I don't know if you know her. 1 million too many. It is 1 million too many there. Chrissy Holt coming in with the Spanish figures. God, this is like Eurovision, isn't it? Spain, over 1,685,000 plus cases, and it's just dropped. I can't read it because it's just jumped off my screen. Okay, I can't find the rest of it. It's gone. Sorry, my screen jumped. Michael Swindles, that would give Sweden a pro-rata death rate of 60 to 70,000. That's the maths. That's quite right.
Well, if we may also just sort of point out here as well that somebody can see. Now that's curious. Now this is very interesting, actually. I did not know this had stopped. But it looks like the recovery numbers are no longer published. Isn't that interesting?
Really?
Well, I'm looking at a website that I've gone to many times. It's actually this genius chap in America 17-year-old guy by the name of Avi Schiffman who created this ingenious app that just sort of accumulated all of the figures all over the world from the different organizations, such as, say, the ONS. So for us, it's the Office of National Statistics, the version in America, all around the world, all of these different places. And he's got one website that actually calculates their figures and puts them all into one chart and one easy to read graph. It's incredibly done. Very, very well done. Anyway, this chap, he's put this together and it shows you in terms of the numbers of confirmed cases around the world versus the number who have lost their lives, sadly. But it also used to show the numbers that have recovered. Now, Google have stopped publishing the numbers that have recovered, and his website has also stopped publishing the numbers that have recovered. How interesting is that?
I don't know. Now, Ramsey's got a good point here. He says, please don't resort to flinging stats around without any context. Let's learn from what happened before and change tack accordingly. I don't think anyone's learned from anything. You can, Ramsey, the problem is you can learn all you like, but if you've got a solid group of people who don't give a monkeys and are just going to carry on and not wear a mask. And yesterday, my other half pops into the local little shop, right, which has been brilliant. And there's a woman there and she's got, wait for it, the mask is here. So it's covering her mouth, not covering her nose. So not being shy and coming forward, Madam goes, excuse me, you do realize that wearing your mask under your nose is serving no purpose at all. You're putting me at risk and you're putting yourself at risk.
Well,
and I said, hang on. So I said, oh my God, I bet she kicked off. She said, oh, thank you. I didn't know that. And immediately put her mask up. Jesus Christ. We've had this for 7 months. How tricky is it not? How can you be doing this? How can you not know?
I'm sorry, I don't believe for a second. Don't believe there is.
No. She wasn't, she wasn't the Meryl Streep. She couldn't act it.
No, but I would suggest that she probably did know. It was just more a case of couldn't be bothered to argue.
Well, you weren't there. We don't know. We don't know.
You not know.
Sainsbury's in Wallingham, says Ramsey, sold its last roll of toilet paper at 8:45 this morning. What is this obsession with loo paper?
Hang on, are you telling me that they sold it individual rolls?
I don't know what they did. God knows. God knows. Where are you going? He's gone. Ramsey, you've upset him so badly. You mentioned toilet paper. It's obviously brought up a terrible childhood memory. Are you going to be just holding it in case someone nicks it?
I'm prepared for when, I know it's upside down. I don't really want to advertise them. I'm prepared for when my soup goes horribly wrong. I'm ready.
When your soup goes wrong.
When my soup goes horribly wrong, I'm ready.
Can anybody all around the world watching the show and listening to the show, is there anybody who can explain, please? Because one of the side effects of this is you're not rushing to the loo. You can't move out of bed. It's not it.
I need to stress this just in case people think I'm abhorrent. Honestly, that was the only pack that I bought. There were loads on the shelf where I went. I could have very easily have bought more, and I didn't. Bountiful supplies, and it's absolutely no problem.
No, it's an obsession, isn't it? This is when they say herd immunity. It's herd stupidity. It's like the pasta will disappear. Why does everyone suddenly want pasta all of a sudden? Pasta go. I don't know. God knows.
But okay, so this is the thing now. Have you ever noticed? I don't know when the last time you went into. Excuse me, Russ. Sorry, the soup's haunting. I don't know whether or not when the last time you actually when you went into an actual supermarket, as opposed to just sort of say going
March.
Shop. Okay, fine. But now, when you go into a local supermarket and you go and buy pasta, innocently go and buy pasta. I genuinely needed some today. Okay, I bought one packet of the fusilli, which is the twisty one. Mm-hmm. I bought one packet of conchiglia, which is the shell-shaped one. And then I bought a packet of spaghetti. Okay? One packet of every single type of those pastas. And then the looks I'm getting from some as if to say, why are you taking 3 packets of pasta? Hello? I've always eaten them. I need them. I've always eaten those. I'm not buying out the stock. But yet you get looks as if you're about to kill somebody.
It's just crap, isn't it? It's complete.
Oh, grief.
People are just barking mad. I always, when they always had those sort of civil defense films and films about if World War III came, I always prayed I'd go when the bomb went off. I always prayed. I did not want to be hanging around and trying to rebuild life after, that you come out of the rubble and it would just be horrible. I just always prayed that I would just go and not know anything about it. That's what I'd want, because I couldn't bear, because life would be just horrific. And this is a tiny little snapshot what it would be like. Chrissy Holt, Paul would probably do well with his free papers. Chrissy, that is the funniest thing you have ever said. Yeah, Paul Claridge is the man to know. Loads of free copies and loads of free news.
I'm going to say, actually, Paul, you're onto something there.
Paul's onto a winner.
Old copies of the Standard, rip it up into sort of equal sheets or what have you, and then just resell it.
Standard. Read all about it in the Standard. Yeah. When they sang it like that in that horrible sort of nasally tone. That's really, really good.
You could just sort of say it's all over the front page. There's an image for you.
God damn. Right, here we go. Paul Claridge, the man of the moment. The panic buying's back, but with slight difference this time. Ooh. That was my intrigued voice. Ooh. Today, I passed by a barber's shop in Croydon where blokes were queuing outside in the hope of getting a pre-lockdown trim.
Uh-huh.
Well, I've been cutting my own hair, as you can probably see, since February. No, since January. I've cut my hair since January. That's nearly a year of me doing this nonsense. And, it is what it is. I'm not the film star. I don't care. It's fine. It's fine. Here we go. Kenelm Janur. I always like his comment. I like everybody's comments. Do you want to read Kenelm's comments, Phil?
Russ.
And Phil. Are you sulking?
People in the media.
Mm-hmm.
I know I don't exist to some people. It's fine. I can take it.
No, that's not true.
No, it's.
Everybody missed you. As wonderful as Alex was, where's Phil? Oh, we love Phil. I said, so when I did the whole thing that I fired you.
Do you know what? I'm not kidding, actually. I even got a message from somebody, one of our regulars, who very kindly messaged saying, "Oh my God, are you okay? Alex is on today. Is everything okay?"
Phil was busy. He had an important job that he had to do at another radio station. That was what he had to do.
Very, very kind. Anyway, right. Sorry, Russ. Many people in the media, particularly at the BBC, who believe they know better than medical experts and the government, and are determined to criticize whatever is done. In the end, it seems we are all losers in the pandemic. Now, hang on just a cotton-picking second, okay? If everyone at the BBC who interviewed somebody else, one of the experts, was to turn around and to not necessarily grill them and just to graciously accept, well, that wouldn't necessarily make for a very interesting interview, would it? I mean, I'm assuming that's what you're referring to. If you're talking about someone who's interviewing an expert and then either fundamentally disagrees with them or then talks about afterwards and says, what about this, that, and the other? Surely it would just be boring if they said, you know what, he's absolutely spot on. End of conversation. Or what happens next?
I think the point that I would like to extract from Kenelm Janur's comment is this. It is infuriating to make this a political issue. This is a humanity issue. This is a society issue. It is not the time to do cheap political jibes. It's so easy when you're not the one of any party, of any persuasion, when you're not the one making the decisions. It's so easy to stand on the sidelines because you've got no power. All you can do is moan and groan about it or endorse it or support it. But it's so easy to be critical. What would you do? What I always say to the other political parties. All right, genius. Okay, you're now in power instantly. What would you do that's so smart that the best brains in the world are not doing? What makes you so clever? And then I look at Diana. But anyway, so moving on. So there we go.
Yes, actually, on that very note, forget Diane Abbott because I'd rather not really talk about her if I can help it.
I wouldn't. I'm surprised it came out of my mouth. But anyway, there we go.
Kind of makes me a little bit queasy. Anyway, her to one side, and thankfully she now has been cast appropriately to one side. That the current Labour leader has a bit of a nickname to some of my colleagues, which I think is rather brilliant. They call him Captain Hindsight because, in other words, all he does is he makes comments on what's been and gone. He doesn't say what he'd do. The only time he's ever said what he would actually do is saying that he would have implemented a circuit breaker lockdown sooner. And to be fair, to give him credit where it's due, is he actually said that a few weeks ago. Boris Johnson chose to ignore that from him a couple of weeks ago. So honestly, I mean, you've got to give him credit in that sense. But everything else, if you look at all the comments he's made, they've all been after the event.
And Michael Swindle's very good point. And Lee Durnford, who does enormous engineering for I mean, Lee Durnford's organization, the engineering that they do is like, oh my God, you built that? It's huge. He went down, Chrissy Holt and everybody else, he went down to the Channel Tunnel before it was completed. He said it was absolutely awesome. Michael Swindles, do you want to put this one up? I think it's a very good point. And would you care to read it, Philip?
Michael Swindles says, if education had been immediately put online with a single curriculum per subject and produced and distributed by the BBC, 80% of face-to-face teaching could have been avoided and made social distancing easier for the 20% that were in school that is necessary to be there. Yeah, but again, I hate to tell you, that's hindsight. It's a lovely thought, but that's what should have happened. It's exactly the same way when I was saying before about how I would, if it was me, I would have closed the borders off. Well, it's great to say it now, but it should have been done sadly at the time.
Everybody I knew with a brain the size of a potato would say, why? Who are all these people coming in by planes? What is this? We're all being told not to do this, that, and the other, and the planes are flying over like crazy. Why? You just say, no one's coming in. End of. Just close the borders. That's the joy of being an island. You can just close a border, right? You know. Lee Durnford.
I said, hello.
Go on.
Hello. I suggested to a friend last week that being a situation of national importance, the parties should collaborate, couldn't agree more, and help one another. I know it's not the done thing, but it would show all party followers that each party is willing to help as best as they can. Why on earth do they debate and argue about the actions or inaction of the now party? What a complete waste of time and life.
It is disgraceful. It is absolutely, I was only saying last night, can you take if we were as we were now and it was World War II, can you imagine? Oh, no, it's my right. I'm not switching off my lights at night. I'm not having the blackout. It's an infringement of my human rights. If I'm going to leave my bedroom light on and my hall light. Yeah. So the German bombers can see, how to bomb. This would be the mentality. And you're all in it together or every man for himself. And if it's every man for himself, you don't need a government. You don't need a government. Just sort it out yourselves. That's how you want to live. Fine. Okay. Go off the grid, do what you want, but don't ask for any state help. That's the thing.
Well, I mean, I could try and give you a little bit of a flavor of what it might have been like had they have been successful if this was World War II now with all of our current powers that be. Imagine the show would sound a little bit like this. Guten Tag, and here's a Column by Männer Radio.
That was exactly what it would have been like. They would have been waiting until the Germans were marching up Oxford Street going, maybe we should have done something. Oh, it would have been pathetic. It would have been pathetic. I don't. It's an extraordinary thing. I was even thinking about doing a book about it. Like transposing history, and just seeing if you had the millennials and all of this wokeness and everything, and suddenly it was the same scenario as in 1939. How the hell would that pan out? Well, we'd all be speaking German. Well, I wouldn't be here.
You're an optimist.
I said I would. Screw 'em. Thank God it isn't, says Chrissy Richards. That's Keith's wife. Keith Richards' wife. It's not
Or
really,
indeed,
I just thought I'd say that.
It's Chrissy.
When's your book coming? I can't write it. I'll be honest with you. I am completely stymied. I'm up to chapter 5 of book 2 of The Gatekeeper, and this has just done my head in. And it's so full on running the radio stations with everybody and keeping everything going and providing the service. It is very time consuming. So there we are. I'm afraid I just haven't got the mind to it at the moment. It will happen. It will happen, but I just can't get around to it. Good news from Ramsey. Lee, I've got a snack coming from Amazon at the weekend. Give me a shout if you need some. Good news. The whole thing about, the way they've done, I'll tell you what's a con. I'll tell you what's an absolute con is universities, because all the kids are stuck in their either their halls of residence, or, as in the case of one of the twins, they're stuck in the house up at the university. They have to have, because they're not allowed in halls of residence. You have to go and get your accommodation. So all the kids are in the house, which they're paying for. Do they go into the university? No. It's all done online. Well, they could have done that at home. So they've got all the costs, all the expenses, all the inconvenience, everything like that, and none of the advantages of being at university. Not good. Not good. It's a real con. It's a real con. And it's upset. I can tell you. I call them kids, but they're not kids. They're like 22. And the effect it's had on them. I don't know if any of you listening and watching have got children at university, but your kids or maybe your grandkids are at uni. I don't know, but the effect it's had has been really heavy. Don't dismiss it and just say, "Oh, they're kids. They're having a great time." They're really not. They're really, really not. They are struggling. And what is so depressing is the pastoral care, non-existent. Awful. That's what's sad and upsets me.
Do we have something to cheer us up?
What, Jill Kenton again? No, what? Go on.
I can't take credit for this at all. In fact, I would love to be able to give credit to the person who has created this, but I simply don't know who it is. But this is mildly amusing and very clever. I give you. For anyone who needs an explanation as to what it is that you're looking at, this is, of course, the chief medical advisor to the government.
Ever so good. That's ever so good.
Has grown a bit of a reputation for, on the press conferences that are screened on TV, of saying his catchphrase, "Next slide, please." Someone has taken it upon themselves to superimpose his head on a child's body going down a child's slide, with the speech bubble simply saying, "Next slide, please." So there you go.
When the whole population, I know it's the whole world, but just let's say the UK for a minute. When everybody is like this, sodding slides, it's just not the way. It's just not the way. People need to be reassured, and going through like the most boring corporate annual report is just not the way. People don't have the capacity for it. People don't, I mean, I'm saying that as someone who used to produce so many of these corporate conferences. And, I'd have such arguments with clients about slides. I said, people can take in a few facts. And Americans were the worst. They would pack it. I said, no one can read that. It's a book. It's not a slide. Slides are so, everyone will switch off. Come on, you got to talk. You got to communicate. And that was it. Lee Danford, my middle daughter, reported to me that her friend at uni was tested positive early last week and went out this weekend. Oh, come on, Lee. Jesus.
Ed Grossman.
This is the problem, man.
Ed Grossman says, "Phil, remember that for 2 weeks in October, the Prime Minister messed about negotiating with that mayor in Manchester. He was less complimentary than I was. I called him the mayor. He inserted another word beforehand. But
see, this is the thing. And the other thing, and I know it's a theme I do come back to, it is an age thing. It is an age thing. Over a certain age, you're more wary, because life seems more finite. And when you're a kid, you're immortal. You're invincible. Life will go on forever. course it won't. But when you're that age, and I was the same, that's how you think. Screw it, let's party, yay! And you do get much more cautious when you get older. It's a fact. So that's another brilliant division. Sen Monroe was in meetings. Stay safe. Sen, you were talking to Ziggy, your dog. You're fooling nobody. No one's impressed that you were having meetings. You were just chatting to your dog, and you know it. It's not big. It's not clever.
Ken Elm says, panic buying of toilet paper shows that some people are utterly determined that if they should die from COVID, they will at least have very clean backsides.
Oh, put it up. Go on, put it up, dare you. Put it up.
It's not quite the way he wrote it.
No, but put it.
I'm paraphrasing. It's all done with taste.
Oh, Jesus. Now, you see, Ramsey says, I'd rather have Burnham watching my back than Boris. Jeez, says Ramsey. I'm not going to get into a whole political thing. Hey, when's the American election? Is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
I'm pretty tense. I am pretty damn tense about this. Pretty damn tense about it because I know you're shrugging your shoulders as like, who gives a monkey?
No, because there's nothing we can do about it.
No, Phil, I know there's nothing we...
Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to think if there's a way that I can share this with you. Hang on a sec. There's someone else has posted something now, which is just, I mean, genius doesn't even come into it.
Go on. We're over 21. I think we're all right.
And let me see if I can
have a meeting with my co-directors. Ebony? Yeah, she's happy with it. Yeah.
Hang on. Because wouldn't you know it? I've gone and lost it now. Right, there we go. Right, hang on.
Hello, Susie. Type in Fife. You had an appointment up in Fife.
I'm hoping this works. I don't know if it will.
Give it a go. Give it a go.
So to anyone who was listening,
it's just shocking. It's hilarious, but shocking.
To anyone who is listening to this rather than watching it, I should explain what that was. That was what's known as a GIF. A GIF is an image that moves on rotation. So what you do is you'll notice it will say move for about maybe 3 or 4 seconds, and then it goes on rotation. It goes back on a loop in itself. So you had an image of a chap holding out his hand underneath one of those hand foam dispensers, so the antibacterial hand foam dispensers. But someone had stuck a picture of a seagull right in front of the dispenser and had located the tail end of the seagull.
Yeah, I think we got it.
Over where the foam comes out of to make it look like the seagull was relieving itself.
You're so polite.
Yes.
The way you say it's so polite. I parked at Paddington Station car park, which is the creepiest car park I have ever been to last week. Creepy as hell. Jeez, it spooked me out. A really creepy place. And I came back and my car was just covered in pigeon. Covered. I had to stand there with a cloth. I was washing the whole damn thing in the car park. Sen Monroe, that is so rude. That is it. Finished. I'm not going to be in your film.
I want one of those. I want one of those with Russ as the GIF.
That's delightful. Thank you so much. Can we just post funny pics? The politics stuff is too stressful. God, wait till it kicks off in America after the election. Boy, oh boy, that's going to be stressful. I know there's nothing we can do, but neither side's going to accept the result. That's the problem with America. Neither side's going to accept the result.
That sounds very familiar.
I know, but at least we don't have armed militias here. We've got, people who are ghastly and people who are terrible and people who are quite nice. But we don't have armed militias. That's the one plus we have here in the UK. Thank God for that, Yeah, it is a worrying time. I wonder what everyone thinks about it. We'll talk about it maybe on we'll talk about it on Wednesday. We'll touch on that on Wednesday. Thank you everybody for joining in. It's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it. Lovely to see you back, Phil.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be back. And may I just say, for such a serious subject, we've had a few laughs, and hopefully that's the way to deal with it. And look, fear not. We will muddle through together, all of us, okay? This is what we're here for. So join us Wednesday from midday, and with a bit of blooming luck, we'll be one step nearer to maintaining sanity. I don't know. He's Russ Kane. I'm Phil Dave. See you on Wednesday at midday. Bye.
Ta-ra, Poppigas.